Hello my friends, welcome to my review of the Too Faced Peaches and Cream collection. I have been trying these products over the past couple of weeks to make sure I can give you the best review of these products possible, and I cannot wait to share my thoughts with you right now. As you may know, if this is not your first rodeo with me, my reviews are quite long. I always put timestamps in the description down below in case you'd like to skip ahead to a specific section. The one that I would recommend if you have no time is to skip to the full review of the products. But the way that I feel about things may not be the same way that you feel about them. So I feel like the details in the beginning are important to decide whether we agree on certain aspects of it. Because just because I like it doesn't mean you like it, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean you won't like it. So that's why the beginning part is important. If you don't have time, full review is going to be right at this timestamp right there. I want to take a minute to thank the lovely folks over in the super chat, in my live chat, for helping me to purchase the products in this video. For a while I did have the super chat enabled, which means that people were able to donate money to the channel, and as a thank you I would let you know what you helped me to purchase. So these are the lovely folks that helped me to purchase the products in the Too Faced Peaches and Cream collection. Without them, I probably would have purchased maybe 2 or 3 products, but because of them, I was able to buy a lot more from the collection to share with you. So thank you so much for donating to the super chat. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be turned back on, but I'm not planning on turning it on anytime soon. There's so many things you guys can spend your money on, as far as gifts for your friends and family and donating to people who are in crisis. I just don't feel like it's right to turn it on right now, but maybe sometime in 2018 we'll turn the super chat back on. Let's go ahead and start with some details about Too Faced. The products here, by the way, if you live in the UK and Ireland, they will be available in November, so keep your eye out for those, and that's information from the Too Faced website. Too Faced is a cruelty-free brand, but their parent company, Estee Lauder, is not cruelty-free, so depending on how cruelty-free you are in your heart and in your mind, Too Faced may or may not be a cruelty-free brand to you. It is not a vegan brand. There's carmine in quite a few of these products. The products are bulk made in the USA, but they are assembled in the Dominican Republic. Nothing on any of these products say made in China. I have so many products to share with you that I'm going to give you kind of the nitty-gritty on each product. Then I'm going to show you how I got this look today, along with swatches of the eyeshadow palette on both light skin and deep skin. My melanin-rich friend Debbie came over to help me with the swatches, and I'm so thankful. So I actually have deep skin swatches for you, which I'm really excited about. The last thing I wanted to mention about these products is they can only be purchased at Sephora or at toofaced.com. Let's go ahead and start in the order that I put them on my face. We're gonna start with the Primed and Peachy Primer. It is $30. It's 40 milliliters or 1.35 ounces of product, which equals $22 per ounce. I looked at Sephora's website and I sorted it by the most popular face primers, and this one is by far the least expensive. I'm going to put some information on the screen for you right now so you can compare to maybe your possible favorite primer from Sephora. As you can see, the closest one to this is the Fenty primer at $30 per ounce. One thing that they do say from Too Faced about this, I'm just going to read it off the website. It says, skin shiny midday, apply a small amount of the PNC primer on top of your foundation by gently patting a thin layer onto skin with fingertips to mattify and absorb shine, because that's not a problem that I typically have. I couldn't test that claim, but if that's you, that's something you might want to look into with this. Definitely watch an Oily Skin Girl review of this. That's not something I can speak on, unfortunately, but I did want to mention it. For ingredients, this is a water and glycerin based product, and if you've seen my reviews recently, I've talked a lot about glycerin and how glycerin is something you definitely don't want to put on your skin if you live in a dry environment, because the glycerin will try to pull moisture out of the air, but if it can't find the moisture in the air, it will pull moisture from the lower layers of your skin, dehydrating your skin. So if you live in a dry environment, or if in the winter time it's just really dry, you definitely don't want to use this then. Maybe save it for spring and summer. Other ingredients of note, there is talc in this. It is the 5th ingredient, so if you're sensitive to talc, this is a no-go for you. There's also fragrance in here and something called benzyl benzoate, which is something that is in a lot of these products. Now, that's supposed to be avoided by people who have a perfume allergy. So if you specifically have a perfume allergy, you don't want a lot of these products. I'll let you know in each one whether you need to be careful careful of that. Now I'll give you my full review on what I think of this all at the end. I'm going to tell you all my review stuff at the very end. So let's move on to the Peach Perfect Foundation. I did want to dig really deep with the Peach Perfect Foundation, so I did do a full review of this product, but let me just tell you just the basics about it. It is $36, and I actually made a mistake on the ounces that are in this. If you look at them, you can see that there is a bigger bottle with the foundation than there is with the primer. So there is more in here. So it's actually an even better value than what I said in the full review of this product. So when I looked at the box and the bottle, I noticed that it was 1.6 ounces, which makes it $22.50 per ounce. On Sephora's website, I sorted by the most popular foundations, and if you look at it, I mean, the closest thing again for price per ounce is the Fenty at $31 per ounce, but this is still significantly less expensive than the most popular foundations at Sephora. It does come in 12 shades, but it does look like they kind of lean light. I'm hoping that this is loved enough that they come out with deeper shades soon. I did talk with the brand rep from Too Faced at Generation Beauty, and she said it kind of just depends on the sales of it, whether they'll keep it around or not. So hopefully, I'm really hoping they come out with deeper shades of this, because it looks like there's like really just like 2 deep shades, maybe 3, but that's kind of pushing it. So crossing my fingers on that. Overall, it has great ingredients. Again, see the full review for all of that information on this. The mattifying setting powder is probably one of the most exciting things I have to share with you from this line. This is, I'm just gonna skip to the review for a second. This is my favorite product in the line. It's stinking amazing. Okay, so it's $32. Though it's not like a less expensive product, the price per gram for this product is insanely cheap. It's only 91 cents per gram. Again, I'm going to throw up those popular brands on the screen, and you can see nothing even comes close, except for maybe the Laura Mercier translucent powder, which I was really surprised that that one was that little money for what you get, because that's a fantastic powder as well. Just out of curiosity, I went over to Ulta and I checked out some drugstore mineral powders, some loose mineral powders. The Ulta Beauty one was $1.90 per gram, so it's actually like half as expensive per gram of product for this than the Ulta brand one. Now I looked at the NYX. NYX is currently on sale for $6.99, but if you look at the original price for the NYX, it's $1.26, so the Too Faced beats that as well. If you go for the sale price for the NYX, then the NYX now gets a little bit cheaper, but I mean, it's fantastic for how much product you get. It's a really great deal. The directions from Too Faced is that you're supposed to apply the setting powder while the foundation is still damp to really lock down your foundation. It is a talc and cornstarch based product. There's also sodium saccharin in this, which is sweet and low. If you get this in your mouth a little bit, you can actually taste saccharin in your mouth, like a sweet kind of taste. It's very, very odd, but I would not complain. Someone had asked me if, because it has the saccharin in it, would bacteria like love this powder, and would the bacteria just like eat it up on your face? I couldn't find any research to back that up. If you ever find something, please leave it in the comments down below and I will add it to the video description, because I looked and I could not find it. Next up, the Just Peachy Mattes palette. You're getting 12 all matte shades in here, and you get the very, very large mirror. I really like this packaging, just to start the review a little bit, because I just can't stop. It's $45. Each pan is 1.25 grams, leading to 15 grams of product, and that's about $3 per gram, which is actually more than any other Too Faced palette that I own. Usually Too Faced palettes kind of hover around that $2.75, $2.88 per gram of product, so this is kind of pricey for a Too Faced product, but it's still less than a lot of other popular products on the market, including Urban Decay and Anastasia. So that is that there. It is a talc-based product. There is carmine in here, which is not crushed beetles, I learned in the last video. It's crushed bugs. It's a bug, not a beetle. They're not crushed. They squeeze the juice out of them basically, and they make a red pigment out of them, which is really disgusting. So if that grosses you out, you want to stay away from this product. And there's another product later on that I'm going to show you. There is fragrance in here. It does seem to be both lip and eye safe. So if you want to change up your lipstick tone by adding a little shadow, it seems to be lip safe. Next up, the Sweetie Pie bronzer. I almost didn't get this, but it was just so pretty, and I'd been seeing sneaks of this for like like 2 years. So I just decided to get it. It's $30. It's 13.5 grams of product, which equals $2.22 per gram. And again, the comparisons on the screen right now. The Sephora Collection Powder Bronzer is the only one that I could find that was even close to the same price per gram here. Again, a very good deal as far as its comparison brands that are in similar price points. It is talc and cornstarch based as well. The third ingredient is dimethicone. So if you don't like dimethicone in your makeup products, then you may want to skip this. It can be acne causing to some people. I don't know if because it's a powder, if it won't, go so deep into your skin as maybe a foundation would, but I did want to let you know it does have dimethicone. It also has fragrance and that benzyl benzoate. So if you're sensitive to perfumes, skip it. One thing that was really interesting is they had it listed that there were 4 shades in here, and I can see 3 shades. So I don't really know if maybe one of them was the overspray that came off of this. I'll put an original picture up here so you can see what the overspray looks like. I'm thinking that might have been it. So they listed as Bronze Peach as one of the shades that has a specific formula, so I guess maybe that's the overspray. And then 3 other shades, Candied Peach, Caramelized Peach, and Golden Peach. I think that might be the 3 shades that I see in here. I don't know. The reason why that's important is only if you decide to use this for something different, meaning you want to use it on your eyes or lips. It is not lip safe, and it may not be eye safe. It says red 6. One of the red 6 is eye safe and the other one isn't. So when they don't say DNC red 6 or red 6 Lake, like I don't know which one it's talking about. So it's possible that this may not be eye safe. I think it's the pink one in there that I would imagine would be the shade that would be questionable, but put it on your eyes at your own risk. Next up, I got the Peach Frost Highlighter. They did come out with blushes as well. Because I got the bronzer, I decided to kind of use that for blush and got this instead because I didn't have a highlighter. So I wanted to use this, and I don't have a lot of cream highlighters, so I thought it would be fun. It's called Peach Frost. It's $30. It's 12.5 grams, which is $2.40 per gram of product. Again, very inexpensive compared to the most popular products on Sephora.com. The first ingredient in this is caprylic and capric triglyceride, which is used in a lot of skincare products. It's a lightweight, non-greasy barrier for lubrication. It's supposed to be gentle to the skin, and it's also supposed to replenish the skin's moisture. The other thing about that is that it has a really, really, really long shelf life, that particular ingredient. I don't know about the other ingredients in here, but the main ingredient in this has a really long shelf life, so that's a really good thing. There's also that benzyl benzoate in here and the fragrance. It also has carmine in here, which I was really surprised because I wouldn't think that, I don't see very much red in here, so I was very surprised to see carmine in here, but it's in here. And then the last thing, I got 2 Peach Kiss lipsticks. I got the shades Sex on the Peach and Drunk Dial. I'm wearing Sex on the Peach on my lips right now, and you'll see Drunk Dial when I zoom in and do the demo of the products. They're $21 each. You get 4 grams of product, which leads it to $5.25 per gram. Found that are more Sephora typical price per gram. So looking at the comparison, the Urban Decay Vice lipsticks are less expensive. Anastasia's are about the same. Bite Beauty's just a little bit more. So, I mean, not a fantastic value on these like the other products, but definitely still fair. Now, it does come with 20 shades. There is fragrance in here and also benzyl benzoate. So now that I've gotten down to the nitty-gritty of each product, I'm going to go ahead and show you a demo of how I got this look today. That way you can see how it applies on my face and see whether that's something that you think is going to work for you or not. So go ahead and watch that right now.
All right, my friend, are you ready to see how these products work? Let's go ahead and start with the Primed and Peachy Primer. And you can see it does have a little bit of a peach tint, but when I rub it into my skin tone, I can't see anything at all. It's supposed to have a slight color correcting effect. I haven't really noticed that on my skin tone. Maybe other skin tones would notice it more than I do. I love the way this primer feels. Water-based primers just feel nice to me because they're not oily or greasy in any way. They just seep into the skin super nicely. And then this is the foundation. So you can see it is a bit liquidy. It's definitely not a serum foundation, but it is a bit liquidy. You'll notice that the shade is a bit dark for me. I am planning on trading it in for a lighter shade. This was the one that was described as light medium, and it's called Natural Beige. And either I'm getting lighter or the light medium in Too Faced just isn't the right shade for me. One thing I wanted to mention about this foundation that I did not get correct in the original review is that this does have artificial fragrance in it. Somehow it got deleted from my notes. So if you are sensitive to fragrance, you definitely want to stay away from this. As you can see, it does blend into the skin very, very nicely with a beauty sponge. And I like this foundation. It kind of reminds me in coverage of the IT Cosmetics CC cream, or just CC creams in general, just because it looks really natural on the skin. Again, for the full review, you can see that down below. And this is with 1 pump of foundation on my face. I've seen a lot of reviews where they've used a lot of pumps. We're just gonna go with 2 today. So now we're starting off with the second coat, or the second pump. So this is just 1 additional pump on my face. Again, just tapping and pressing it in with the Beauty Blender. You can also roll this. It just kind of depends on what your personal preference is with the beauty sponge. I like to pat and press rather than roll. I don't know, it's just me. But you can see already that the coverage is getting built up. It's also very shiny at this point, but that's because it's still wet. When it does dry down, it ends up being more of a soft matte, like a satiny matte. It's not a matte and flat look. Now this is my face with the second coat of foundation. You can see we've definitely built up the coverage to more of a closer to full coverage. This is the Peach Powder, and this again is one of my favorite products, if not my favorite product in the line, just because of the mattifying effect of it. Again, not matte and flat. It really gives a nice look to the skin. You can see that my right side that you're looking at now has the powder on it, and then my left side has no powder, and you can see how it just took the shine right away. And you can see the powder just flying everywhere. That's because I didn't tap off my brush very well. Also, just a note, I am using a flat kabuki here because I found that I've really been enjoying pressing powder into my skin rather than fluffing it all over. That's been a personal preference, but you just have to find which way works best for you. Now we're gonna go into the bronzer, and I am using a very, very dense brush with this because I wanted to get a lot of color, and I find that this bronzer, if you use too fluffy a brush, it just takes a long time to build up the color, and I just didn't have the patience to do that today. So I'm using a brush with lots and lots of densely packed bristles to make sure I get full color payoff. It's really not buildable beyond this level. It just doesn't get darker than this. So definitely keep that in mind and keep your skin tone in mind when deciding if you want to purchase it. Now we're gonna go into the highlighter, and I'm really digging in with this stippling brush from Moda. I couldn't find my e.l.f. small stippling brush, so I use this larger stippling brush, and it works much, much better for me than with my fingertips. I feel like it just applies it more lightly. It makes it so that it doesn't blend away, where I'm gonna show you the fingertip application, and you definitely still can see the highlight, but I feel like you can barely see it compared to the other side when I use the stippling brush. I mean, you can see it, but I prefer a more poppy highlight, so I go with the stippling brush. If you want something even more subtle, you'll go for the fingertips, in my opinion. Now here's the lipstick. This one is a really nice lipstick. It is a little bit gray. It's like a gray toned peach kind of shade, but if you like those cool toned lipsticks, this might be a good shade for you. Full review on all of this stuff, of course, is coming. I do really like these lipsticks as far as the hydration though. This one in Drunk Dial, I wanted to get a neutral, and then I wanted to get a more bold to see if the bold would seep outside my lip line, and thankfully this one doesn't. It's very, very nice. I do love this shade. I'm starting to try to get into more bold lipsticks, and this definitely fits the bill, I'll tell you that. And you can see it's not completely matte. It's got a little bit of a satin finish to it. Looking at this, I feel like I look so much like my mother without eye makeup on. Now we're gonna go ahead and add that eye makeup. We've got the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I thought it was only fair to use the Shadow Insurance with this eyeshadow palette. I'm going to go ahead and into Peach Tea. That is the transition color for me. When you see the deep skin swatches, you might get a better idea of what transition colors might work for your skin tone if you're a different skin tone than I am. But Peach Tea is definitely a great transition for me. Transition shades are typically a couple of shades deeper than your natural skin tone. And now we're going to go into Just Peachy and pat that all over the lids. Except for I'm going to leave that inner corner bare because I want to brighten that up with a lighter color. This is a Moda Prismatic brush, by the way. It's their packing eyeshadow brush. I forget exactly what it's called. And now let's go into Peach Butter. I do like Peach Butter better than Peach Meringue. I feel like it's more pigmented and punchy, where I feel like Peach Meringue kind of disappears sometimes on my lid. Let's deepen it up a little bit with Peach Sangria. Now this one does have a little bit of a satin finish to it. I wouldn't call it shimmery, I would call it more satin. It does have a lot of pigmentation, as you can see. You definitely only need the tiniest little bit on your brush in order to get a lot of pigment. Now I'm kind of winging it out on the side because I like that with my personal eye shape. And into Peach Tart, just to deepen up the outer corner and kind of up into the crease a little bit. This is a brush by Bare Minerals, by the way, and I really like this brush. I got it in a Bare Minerals mystery bag, and I use it all the time. It's super fab. And now we're just blending it out with a Luxie brush. No product on that Luxie brush, just blending out the current color. And back into Peach Butter for the brow bone to kind of soften up that Peach Sangria so it's not a harsh line there. I just wanted to blend that out. I really wanted my lids to pop with that peach, so I'm just dabbing into just peachy again, just with my fingertip to really make it punch and just blending it slightly into peach butter. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do liner and lashes, and boom, there it is. Liner, and I just did mascara today because I really wanted you to be able to see the eye look. Now I decided that with my eye look, I didn't like the Drunk Dial, so I ended up putting the other one back on, and I like Sex on the Peach much better with this look. Now we're just gonna go into the lower lash line a little bit with Peach Tart down in the outer corner, kind of pulling that into the center. It's a way to kind of deepen up your lower lash line without looking too harsh. And then Peach Butter again on the lower lash line from the inner corner to the center. All right, this is the final look, and I do really like the way that it came out. I find the shadows to be easy to blend and for the most part buildable. Some of them you have to be careful of strong pigmentation, but overall I feel like these shadows are performing great and I'm really enjoying them. Totally forgot to do the little transition into showing you the swatches, so let's just jump right into the swatches of this palette. We're going to do both my skin tone, and then we're going to do a deep skin tone with my friend Debbie in just a second. So this is Peach Meringue, Peach Tea, Peach Cobbler, and Peach Tart. And as you can see, the finger swatches really aren't super fab. They look kind of patchy, but you'll notice with the brush swatches, for the most part, they do look pretty good. Like I was mentioning in the tutorial / demo part, the Peach Meringue shade is kind of weak. You can use different brushes with this to really pull off a little bit more pigmentation, but overall it is kind of a weak shade. The other shades are better. Peach Cobbler is fantastic. That's definitely my favorite shade in this first row. And one thing I noticed as I was editing these swatches is it seems like the rows are set up by skin tones. So the top row could be really great for lighter skin tone, the middle row for medium skin tones, and the bottom row for deep skin tones, which I thought was really, really cool. If you're new to my channel, you're new to the wipe test. So this is just to kind of simulate what would happen through a long day. So I wipe them away to see the staining power of the shadows. And you can see they all hang around except for that very first, very light shade. Let's move on to the next row, which is Peach Butter, Just Peachy, Peach Punch, and Just Ripe. And again, the finger swatches are not super impressive. I was surprised Peach Butter came off so badly on my arm because I don't feel like that's representative of how it looks on the eyes. Now you'll notice that Just Peachy is pretty good. Peach Punch is stinking amazing, and it does kind of look like juice. You know, it reminds me of juice. And Just Ripe is also a really nice shade. That one is buildable. This is just one dip into the pan. If you do a second dip, it actually comes out better. Again, the same thing as the first row. Those last three hang on. The first one disappears. And the final row, this is Peaches and Cream, Fresh Picked, Peach Sangria, and Chocolate Dipped. I really like this row. I feel like this is my favorite row in the palette. I feel like they're all solid shades. Peach Sangria is probably the patchiest, but it's really not even that patchy. Chocolate Dipped is gorgeous. For a deep brown like that to be that smooth, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. This is a fantastic row. It's not probably my favorite. It's my favorite. And if you look at the wipe test, the way that they wipe away, you can see they're all still there. Of course, Peaches and Cream is the lightest, and that's typical Nicole for lighter shades to wipe away easier. Now let's go ahead and grab Debbie's arm. This is the first time I've ever done swatches on someone's arm other than my own, so my finger swatches came out really, really, really bad. So definitely take the brush swatches for this one. The brush swatches definitely look better. You can see that peach tea pretty much disappears on her skin tone. By the way, Debbie doesn't wear makeup, so I don't even know her foundation shade. She has no idea. She just came over to let me use her arm. But you can see that 3 out of those 4 shades look pretty good on her. Moving on to that second row. Finger swatches are getting a little bit better here. Peach butter really shows up on her skin. It looks really great, and all of them really do, honestly. If you look at the swatches as they start appearing, I mean, that peach punch, this is probably one of my favorite shades in the palette, so if you dig on that color, definitely, oh my gosh, it's awesome. And there's row 2 on Debbie's skin, and I think this row looks great on her. This last row, again, my favorite row in the palette, and it's just as beautiful on Debbie, if not more beautiful than it was on me. I mean, you can just see the punch of pigment in every single shade with the brush swatches. They're really, really beautiful. This one actually might be a nice transition color for her, the fresh picked shade. Peach Sangria looks amazing on her skin tone. I just can't get over it. And that's it on Debbie's arms. Hopefully that was helpful to those of you out there that have a similar skin tone to her.
Now it is time for me to give you my full review on all of these products. So let's go in the same order that I went a moment ago when I gave you kind of the breakdown of each product. So starting with the Primed and Peachy. Now I got a sample of the Primed and Peachy and I was like, yes, I'm so excited I can use this for the review. And I liked it so much that I got a full size of it. One thing I really like about it is a water-based product. So it doesn't give you that thick, heavy silicone feel that is really annoying to some people. Some people love the way silicone makes their skin feel, but I kind of like the more water-based primers. They just make me feel happier. I mean, a good silicone primer every once in a while, but I prefer the water-based primer, so that made me really happy. You can smell the fragrance quite a bit in the primer. I'm just letting you know that right now. The fragrance is pretty strong. It does dry pretty much immediately once you start rubbing it into your skin. It dries very, very fast. I do feel like it helps increase the longevity of my makeup, and I really like it. I think that it's great. Is it a must-have? I don't know if it's a must-have. I think that it's a must-try if you don't mind the fragrance. I think it's a must-try. If you can, go into Sephora and see if you can get yourself a sample of it. I definitely think it's worth giving it a try if you like water-based primers. Like I was saying earlier, I really, really love the Peach Perfect powder. What's really gonna knock this out for you is if you don't like the fragrance and the scent. But oh my gosh, does this stuff work. It's so fab. I have used this with 3 different foundations. 3 different foundations, yes. And it has worked beautifully with all of them. Some of my other favorite loose powders are the Laura Mercier one and the Bare Minerals one. And I absolutely love this. I can't say I like it better than the other ones, but it's definitely, I would say, equal. And because of the scent and the taste thing, I love. I'm a very sensory person. So when something is nice sensory-wise, I really enjoy it. When something is bad sensory-wise, it is not a good thing for me and it is a no-go. But this one is very nice for me. I love the scent of it. It just makes me happy in my heart. It works really well at mattifying my skin. I do have normal skin though, so I can't speak to whether oil will poke through it or not, but it does really make my foundation look beautiful, and I'm very happy with this product. The Just Peachy Mattes Palette. This is also going to be a positive review. I love the packaging. The packaging is super cute. It kind of reminds me of the Casey Holmes. That was the first thing I saw that had this kind of packaging that was almost like rubberized here. The Casey Holmes highlighter palette. And I really like it. I think it's beautiful. The clasp is not super strong though. It's a magnetic closure, not a click closure, not a clasp closure, even though it looks like a clasp, it's a magnet. So just be aware if you're using this in travel, you might want to put it in some kind of bag or something and not just leave it open, because I can see it definitely opening up in travel. And honestly, I really like the quality of these. I do like my Viseart Mattes palette better than this. I feel like they're easier to blend. I feel like the longevity is better, but really that's the only only matte formula that I would say I like better than this. They're really good. They're very easy to blend. I feel like the lasting power is really good. It'll last a solid 6 to 8 hours without fading, but by like that 10, 12 hour mark, it kind of looks like doo-doo. So just be aware, you probably, like if you put it on the morning, you probably can't really carry it over into the evening without it kind of looking blah. But really, truly, very easy to work with. I love the color selection. I love how it's organized with the light, the middle, and the deep. I love that they went light, medium, and deep so that people from many different skin tones would be able to use this, and I really love it a lot. There is one shade in here that has a tiny bit of shimmer in it, and it's this peach sangria shade, but I feel like on the eye you can't really see it, so I wouldn't really call it a shimmer, or like, but even though it does have in the pan just a tad bit of shimmer to it. And I really have nothing negative to say about this other than it is not the same as an $80 eyeshadow. That's pretty much the only negative I have, but for the price point, it really, really is great. The Sweetie Pie bronzer I think is going to be wonderful if you have my skin tone or lighter. If you have anything deeper than me, I don't think this is going to show up very well on your skin. It is a very light bronze shade. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and swatch the Benefits Hoola bronzer next to this one. Okay, this one right here is the Hoola and this one is the Too Faced, and you can see that the Hoola is definitely darker. So if Hoola is way too light for you, this is not going to show up at all. I mean, it's just a very light peachy bronze shade. I do like, for me, that this can be used almost as a blush. I am wearing it like a blush today. The overspray was a little bit weird that was on here when I first got it. Here's a picture of it with the overspray on it. It did give me almost a highlighted look. It was very shiny, but that overspray came off in like 2 uses, so don't count on that to stay. It is more of like a satiny finish bronzer. There's no glitter in it, but it's not completely matte either. I am enjoying it. For me, lasting power is pretty good, not fantastic. It will last me again through like a work school day amount of hours, a good 6 to 8 hours before it's pretty much gone. By the 8 hour mark, by 10 hours, it's definitely gone. When I first got it, I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it, but the more I've used it, the more I've really liked it, and I did decide I am going to keep it because I do like the way it looks on my skin tone. Just fair warning, if you are deeper than me, it probably won't show up. I would definitely recommend, if you can, swatching it in store, but chances are it's just not gonna work, unfortunately. But I do love the packaging. Again, it's got that rubberized kind of packaging on the front. This is a click closure, unlike the palette. This one is not magnetic. It's the little click clasp there, but I personally like it, but you may or may not like it. Okay, the Peach Frost Highlighter. This is one that I absolutely hated the first 3 times that I used it. I was like, I can't see it. I was applying it with my fingertips and patting it in my fingertips, and it's like, where did it go? Where did it go? Lasting power on this is not very good. I do find that if I apply it with a stippling brush, it's much better. It is a more subtle highlight. It is not your pop-in Jaclyn Hill from Space Becca highlighter. This is like a lot more subtle. It's okay. It's fine. I do like that there's a cute little mirror in here, and again, adorable packaging. This one has a magnetic closure on it rather than a clasp closure. So definitely be careful with it in travel. I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I think if there was anything that I had to say was my least favorite product, it would definitely be this highlighter, just because I like a nice punch and a nice pop to my highlighter, and also at about the 4 hour mark, it's relatively gone for me, which is not the same as the rest of the collection. It's kind of disappointing. I've used this, I think, 6 or 7 times at this point. 6 or 7. But I've used it quite a bit, and it just doesn't last on my skin at all. So this is unfortunately not a recommend from me, unless you want to reapply it, or if you like something that's super, super subtle. So it just kind of, meh. And then last up are the Peach Kiss lipsticks. They smell really, really good. When I first smelled them, all I could smell was vanilla. Right now I can smell the peach in them, but they're more of a creamy peach than the rest of the collection. The rest of the collection is more true peachy, candy peachy, where these are more of like a vanilla peach. I love the scent to them. I think they're beautiful with the stamp in them and the little thing here. If you watch my What's Up in Makeup news show, you saw that Tatcha is suing them over this packaging because it's very similar to the packaging of of the Tatcha. I have not heard any updates on that story. If I hear any updates, it will definitely be in What's Up in Makeup. If I can find out what happened, Tatcha was trying to stop these lipsticks from coming out. It did not work. They released them anyway, so we'll see what happens with that. But as far as the performance of the lipstick, they're very, when I first got them, they were very creamy to go on. They slid really, really well, but I find that the more I use them, they're getting a little tougher to apply. They're a little bit more stiff to apply, so I would imagine that as these age, they may be harder and harder. They may start drying out more. But right now, they're very, very comfortable. The darker shade that I have, the shade Drunk Dial, this one stains my lips, which I personally really, really like. And it's not a yucky stain. It's not like it just sticks to my dry patches. It stains the entire lip. So even after the lipstick has worn off, it still has a little bit of purple on my lips, which I personally really like. I haven't had any bleeding problems with either of these, even without a lip liner, without any other help with it. I have had no problem with bleeding. They're a very creamy formula. I personally love the scent. The scent does linger a bit on the lips though, so if you don't like scents, you're not gonna like this. I mean, and that pretty much goes for the entire collection. Everything smells like peaches. If you don't like that, you don't want anything, to be completely honest. I mean, really the only thing that I would say you might be able to stand would be the eyeshadow palette and the Sweetie Pie bronzer and the highlighter, just because those dissipate really, really fast, where like the Peach Perfect powder and the foundation and the primer, those, and the lipstick, the scent lasts a lot longer on your face. So I definitely wouldn't recommend those, but this is definitely not going to be for you if this is, if you're not into the scents. You're not going to want anything here, unfortunately. But the lipsticks, I mean, if you are in for a higher end lipstick, I like these better than the new Anastasia ones. I don't care for that formula at all. It's way too dry for me. These are a little bit more hydrating. These don't bleed as much as the La Creme lipsticks by Too Faced, but they aren't quite as soft as the La Cremes. They're not quite as comfortable, but even though they're a matte formula, they're not uncomfortable in any way. They're not liquid lipstick transfer proof or anything like that. They're just lipsticky. So overall, I really like them. The price point is a little high for me and what I consider what I like to spend on a lipstick. I'm more of like a $10 girl when it comes to lipsticks. What I feel comfortable buying, if I buy 3 or 4 of them, it would have to be like at the $10 price point. That's just me. This is a little pricey for me to have more than 2, but I am very happy that I have the 2. I like them a lot. Now, before I go, I did want to mention a couple of products that I decided I'm not going to do a full review on. The I Want Kandee eyeshadow palette and the I Want Kandee banana powder. The banana powder is currently sold out on Too Faced website. I'm not sure if it's sold out at Ulta yet, and you may be able to find it in store Ulta for you. This was a product that I shouldn't have bought, because this is a product that is not something that I am good at using, that I have practiced using, and I don't feel like I can give a truly fair review on it as far as using it for its intended purpose, which is a light color correcting. It is a brightening face powder, and it's got these little color correcting colors in there, and it doesn't really do much for me. I did want to mention it because the scent is not good on this, in my opinion. Kandee said it smelled like vanilla wafers. To me, it just smells like makeup. With like a little bit of sweet in it. I don't enjoy the scent of this at all. I love the scent of fake banana, like banana candy, banana scented. I love it. That was what I was hoping for. It's not here. They missed it completely, and I did want to mention that. But as far as the performance of this, I can't figure out a way to use this that I enjoy. I like different under eye brightening powders better that I have. Like, I really love using my Anastasia contour kit as an under eye brightening powder. I don't feel like this is something that I should have purchased, but the banana called to me, and Kandee, because I love her. So yeah, so that's that. But I do have a more educated opinion on this Too Faced I Want Kandee palette. It's super, super cute, and I love, love, love these shadows down here, these bases that she put down there, that they're supposed to be like your transformative colors. What I've done is I actually did looks with each one of these, and then I did some looks kind of mixing the shades, and I loved them all. Every look I made, I loved. My only thing is that I feel like if you have a deeper skin tone, this may be a supplemental palette for you because I feel like there isn't a whole lot of deep. It looks like there's some deep that you can use, like these guys down here, to kind of deepen it up, but there's a lot of light in here. Whipped Cream is a very special shade. I love that shade, Whipped Cream. But the other shades, I find them to be very typical Too Faced formula. I feel like the matte palette is a little bit better as far as the quality of it overall, where this one is a little more typical Too Faced. They are good shadows, but they're not great shadows. I love Whipped Cream. Oh my gosh, layering Whipped Cream underneath some of these shades, it's just beautiful. I know I'm gonna hit pan on Whipped Cream because I find myself reaching for it even when I'm using other palettes. I reach for Whipped Cream to kind of give it that shimmery look. It's kind of like, you remember the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette, how they had that shadow that was supposed to be like the transforming pearl that you were supposed to put over the other shadows to make them shimmery? Like that, this Whipped Cream is what they tried to do and failed. Whipped Cream does that and it's amazing, but I usually put it underneath instead of over top. I do not think this is a must-have eyeshadow palette, but again, if you love Kandee, you may want to get it to support her because it is a good palette. I think you're going to find that you get your money's worth, but it's definitely not like, oh my gosh, run out and get it today. You know what I mean? I want to thank you so much for watching my Too Faced Peaches and Cream review with a touch in the Kandee Johnson collection. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. I put out 9 videos per week, 5 makeup minutes, so you can get your makeup news in 1 minute, 5 days a week. Then our full-length makeup news show on Sundays. That's usually about 15 to 20 minutes of news. Beyond that, I do 3 other videos a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Typically, those are review videos. So if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And mad love to you, and I will see you in a video soon. Bye! I would love to know your thoughts on this collection down in the comments below. If you've tried anything, we are the collective brain of makeup awesomeness. I cannot know everything there is to know about these products because I only have one skin tone and one skin type, but the collective brain is of many skin tones and skin types, so I love it if you would share your experiences with these products down in the comments so that we can all learn from you and what you have gone through with these products, whether it has been a positive experience or a negative experience. I'd love it if you could share it with us.